Hello, my name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel. So on this channel, we talk about everything personal finance, budgeting and investing related. So if that sounds like something that might interest you, then please do subscribe below. So today we are going to be talking through whether it is more advantageous to be overpaying your mortgage or whether you should be investing that money instead. Now there's a lot of factors to consider here, so we're going to go through all the calculations and then also just go through a little bit of the psychology of paying off your mortgage early. So it can be really tempting to want to overpay your mortgage. Maybe if you've paid off your mortgage early, that will mean that you sleep better at night, make you feel more relaxed. If potentially you lose your job, you'd feel more comfortable already owning your property outright. So those are some factors to consider. But in terms of making more money and having more money saved in the bank, the better option is probably going to be investing. So you just have to decide whether you're the kind of person who wants to have your mortgage paid off early and have that security, or whether you're the kind of person that would like to invest and grow some income and have a little bit more money as a nest egg once you're finished. So if you decide that investing is for you and that you want to invest instead of overpaying your mortgage, the two figures that you really need to look at is the interest that you're paying on your mortgage, and you also need to think about what you could feasibly make in interest if you were to invest. So if your interest rate on your mortgage is lower than the interest rate that you think that you could make in investments, then this makes financial sense. For example, looking at average interest rates for mortgages at the moment, we're looking at about 2.7%. So that would be in the UK and also in America, interest rates for mortgages are around 2.7%. Obviously, it all depends on your financial situation about whether you can get a better interest rate than that or a slightly worse one, but around 2.7%. So that's what we're going to use for these calculations. And then looking at the kind of return that you could expect to get if you choose to invest your money instead, you'd be looking at around a 9.8% return. So this is based on the S&P 500 performance over the last 90 years, and this is averaged out. Now obviously over the course of the last 90 years the S&P 500 has dipped and then also risen throughout those years, so we're looking at an average return of 9.8%. So this means if you want to follow this strategy that you're looking at leaving your money invested for the long term so that you can see that average rather than those peaks and troughs throughout a year. So obviously there's different fees involved in investing, so in this example I am using, rather than 9.8%, we're going to look at a 9% return because I've deducted that 0.8% for the different fees that you would expect to be paying for different index funds and platform fees. So at the moment, as things stand, it probably makes more financial sense to be investing for the long term than it does overpaying your mortgage. So let's just run those figures. So I am going to base my calculations on a few assumptions because I want to make this video as useful to as many people as possible, so we're going to have to assume some things to go through these figures. I am assuming that you have purchased a house that is the average UK house price. So the average UK house price at the moment is £231,855. Let's just round that up to £232,000 just so it's a nice simple figure to work with. So at the moment, because of COVID and certain situations, you can only get a house with a 15% deposit. So let's say you only have a 15% deposit in your house. So that deposit would be £34,800. So the remainder that you have to pay on your mortgage is £197,200. So that is the figure that we're going to be working with. Obviously, I mentioned that we're working with an interest rate of 2.7%, which seems to be the average on this kind of amount in both the UK and in America at the moment. We're basing these figures on a fixed term mortgage rate. Obviously, in the UK, you can normally fix a mortgage rate for about 2 to 5 years, whereas in America, you can have much longer fixed rate mortgages. But at the moment, we're going to use this 2.7% figure to decide what we're going to do in this situation. So let's just run the figures now. So let's just say you've got a spare £100 a month and you choose to overpay your mortgage by £100 every month over a 25-year term. And then as an alternative, we'll run the figures on investing £100 a month over a 25-year term, and let's see where we get to. So if you were to have a 25-year mortgage at 2.7% as previously discussed, and you overpaid that mortgage by £100 a month, you would make a saving of £10,881 in interest. So that sounds pretty good. You'd also manage to pay off that mortgage 3 years and 4 months early. So that sounds pretty good, like really impressive. And if that's the route you want to go down, then that sounds absolutely awesome. But as an alternative, if you chose to invest that for 25 years, then you'd be looking at investing £100 a month for 25 years at an interest rate of 9%. As I mentioned, you'd probably be more likely to get about 9.8% based on historic returns, but we've removed that 0.8% to account for platform charges and then also the charges of investing in a fund. So you'd basically be looking at, over the course of the same amount of time, 25 years, you'd be looking at a return of £112,953 and 4 pence, so significantly more than you'd be saving in interest charges over the course of 25 years. Now, obviously in this calculation, we can see that actually we've paid off our mortgage 3 years and 4 months early. So you'd be thinking, well, with your example, I'd still be carrying on paying an extra £100 a month into investments for 3 years and 4 months. So let's remove those 3 years and 4 months and then work out where we're at again. So if we were to remove the 3 years and 4 months, we'd be looking at 21 years and 8 months of investing, which is 260 months. So then that means if we were to do the same thing, so invest every single month into an index fund at a 9% return, you would end up with £80,300 and 86 pence. Now, if you were to do that, you'd have a small amount of mortgage left to pay off. So the mortgage you'd be left with at that mark would be £34,568. So you could then choose to take that money out of the bulk of investments, pay off your mortgage early, and then you would be left with still a balance of £45,732 and 1 penny. So basically you can still do a little bit of both. You can still pay off your mortgage early, essentially, so you'd still be paying off your mortgage 3 years and 4 months early, and also you'd be left with a nest egg of £45,732 and 1 penny, which sounds pretty awesome to me. So that's just based on £100 of investing or £100 of overpaying your mortgage every month. But let's run those figures again, but having a look at if we were investing £500 a month. That's a significantly greater amount and it might not be affordable, but it's really interesting to see the numbers run on a bigger scale. If you're overpaying your mortgage by £500 a month, your interest rate is still 2.7% for the term and you're paying it off over 25 years. So that would mean if you were to do that, you would save £34,087 in interest. So absolutely awesome. You would also get rid of your debt 10 years and 11 months early, which sounds absolutely incredible. If you were to choose to invest that money in an index fund tracker instead, so you're investing the £500 at a 9%, you would end up, for 25 years of doing that, you would end up with £564,765 and 18 pence. So a huge return for doing that for 25 years. That's largely down to compounding interest over that period. So as I said, we've paid off that debt and that mortgage 10 years and 11 months early. So if we were to invest for 10 years and 11 months less, then we would be looking at different figures. So what we would be looking at there is carrying on investing for 14 years and 1 month. If we were to do that, so we're investing £500 a month for 14 years and 1 month, you would end up with £170,281 and 8 pence. So still a much larger amount than the £34,000 that you would have saved in overpayments. So after paying your mortgage for 14 years and 1 month, you would still have a total of £102,543 and 12 pence left on your mortgage. So then what you would do is you would use that bulk of money that you've made by investing. So you'd use your £170,000, £281 and 8 pence, and you would pay off that sum and you would still be left with a sum of £67,737 and 96 pence left over. So you would still have a huge nest egg. You'd have paid your mortgage off 10 years and 11 months early, and you would still have almost £68,000 to your name. And that is why I choose to not overpay my mortgage and to use any spare money that I have to invest in the stock market and also to buy funds instead of overpaying that mortgage. Now, I totally understand that for some people it makes way more sense to overpay their mortgage. Perhaps you want to retire soon and you don't want that debt over your head. Also, I do think I understand that there is a certain sense of security with having your mortgage paid off and knowing that you own the bricks and mortar that you live in. It can help you sleep better at night and feel more relaxed generally. So I do understand that for some people it makes much more sense to overpay their mortgage and get that debt gone sooner. But for me personally, I would rather invest that money and see it grow and end up with a larger nest egg at the end. I really hope that's helpful. I know we ran through a lot of numbers in that. If any of that didn't make sense, then do please let me know in the comments down below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Just to say, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm also not a mortgage advisor. I'm just really passionate about personal finance and making sure that we are making the right financial decisions for ourselves as a family. And I just want to share that knowledge with you too. So if you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. I really, really appreciate it. Have a lovely day now, and thank you so very much for watching. Bye bye.